Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Good, Brave, and Heroic podcast. My name is Joanna. Who do you think that is? And our daughter's over there on the side. That is Kaya.
We have a guest who is here hanging out for the recording.
Are you getting behind the scenes footage?
Yeah, behind the scenes footage. Go ahead. Sorry, babe. I interrupted.
So I'm going to just tell you off the bat what the conversation is going to be about. Wow, why did I just blank?
Why you're strong?
You know why? No, because I was thinking of another one. The vulnerability one.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But why you're stronger than you think.
Yes.
I'm still mixing them. So finding resilience in God and why you're stronger than you think. Can you tell I'm asleep? I had coffee. So tired though.
So I think
That
first of all,
wasn't very strong.
Huh?
That was not a very strong intro.
It does not matter. You look good. That's all that matters.
Thanks.
So it probably, you haven't been here for a while, so welcome back.
Thanks.
I'm really happy to be doing this with you again. And it's perfect timing because we are taking a break from Valley of the Heroic podcast, and these will help, so that there's content on the page. Kaya, stop kicking the thing. We're recording, baby. I guess so. She nodded. She probably just nodded me off. Like
She definitely did.
She definitely
She has
did
no
because she
idea what
kicked
you
the thing again. All right, so we're gonna just like kind of give a recap of what life has been since our last episode, which is in May. Our last episode, I think, was May 17th, which is only a few days before our third daughter, Ellie, was born. And so Joanna hasn't been here for a while. That's why she did the intro. She's not confident in the intro, but
I didn't remember what we said.
I think it was a fantastic intro. You know why? Because you were in it.
Thanks. Thanks. Catch up. Had my baby.
Oh, by the way, in the last episode, I just was watching the intro earlier, and you said you did the last intro, and you said, "Hi, my yes, Kaya."
Oh, what did happen?
Okay.
Keep talking.
Yeah. So in the last episode, you said, this might happen a few times. You're just gonna have to be patient. This is life now. So in the last episode, you said, "Hi, my name is Joanna. The other host of the Good, Brave, and Heroic podcast," something like that. And then you said, what else? The lady who's always pregnant, and something like that. And so you're not pregnant this time.
Let's keep it that way.
I can make no assurances. God, because God does what he wants.
Okay, let's just move on.
So from last time to this time, one big update is that you are no longer pregnant. Yes. We had our baby.
Yes. She was born on the 22nd, and she's doing great. For those of you that probably wonder, she's sleeping through the night. Yes, she is, thankfully. We had a hiccup for a while. It's a long hiccup where she wasn't.
Yeah.
She was and then she wasn't, but she's good now. She's sleeping through the night. I'm still tired because I do still wake up in the middle of the night. If you care, I'm still pumping. And that's why. Our girl loves my milk and prefers only that.
Yeah.
Will not take formula.
For nothing.
And I only say that because I'm juggling a lot of things, right? Because if I have the choice of giving her some formula, I would. Because I got a lot going on. I'm back at work. That's another update.
Yep. Back at work.
Yeah, I'm tired. I don't feel like I have any other updates. My life revolves around that right now.
I had the baby. I'm breastfeeding, and I'm back at work.
Yep, pretty much. I'm not really doing ministry right now. I go to church.
Yeah.
On Sundays.
We still love Jesus.
We still love the Lord. God and I still talk. So this should be good. This should still be edifying because we still talk.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, for me, a lot of that is largely the same. Ellie was born. I don't really need to give an update. Everybody's been seeing my face throughout this whole time. But specifically on the part of having another child and just being able to venture through everything that God has been doing with us and how He's been working both in and through us. It's like when you said that title, it really stood out to me because I think that as human beings, we always discount just how strong we really are. One, and two, bandwidth is always shifting, or I should say, bandwidth is deepening, it's growing, right? So the other day, I was actually thinking about this, about how I was talking to someone. I'm trying to think, do I want to reveal this? Because I don't want to like blow nobody's spot up. But I was talking to someone about their daughter, right? And their daughter was saying that that she can't be helpful in a way that the parent wanted her to be helpful because she's tired. And she's tired because she just entered the workforce. So like homegirl is tired, right? Like you can see it. You can see that, you know, she's, when you first get that first job, it's kind of a little bit of a shock to your system because you're used to school, you're used to coming home and doing what you need to do. You're used to going out with your friends and whatever the case may be. You are not used to the ebbs and flows of work. And then you jump into it and it's like, oh, I got to do a 4-hour shift or an 8-hour shift on a Saturday, or somebody asked me if I can switch shifts with them. And now all of a sudden you're whatever age you started, 16, 17, 18 years old. And
someone's got to tell you what to do.
Yeah. You're working with like some 40-year-old who's now your new best friend. And it's like, it's weird. It's a big shift. Right. And so what I was telling that person was, the fact of the matter is that she is tired. And she is not as tired as you, but she is as tired as you. And what I mean by that is that the bandwidth that she has is tiny, just because of like life experience. It reminds me of early on when we were married. I remember you telling one of your family members that you were tired, and that family member made a really like, just like kind of
big reaction.
Like, yeah, had a big reaction, a very Latino reaction, where they were just like, where they were like, oh, you're tired? How are you tired? You're tired. Wow, you're tired. You know what I'm saying? Like,
didn't respect my tired because of their life
respect your
circumstances.
tired.
They were way ahead of me, had kids already. We still didn't have kids.
Exactly.
They're older, full-time, I think multiple full-time jobs. And kind of like while they're married, and they were married then too, taking on all the responsibility.
Yeah.
All of the responsibility. So yeah, for sure. They were definitely very tired. But that someone's tired doesn't discount you're tired.
Yeah.
Because like you said, our bandwidths are just different.
Bandwidth is different.
It gets stretched and it should appropriately get stretched. It wouldn't make sense for me to have that bandwidth because it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly it. I think the Joanna now would kill that back then. And that doesn't mean that you weren't tired back then.
Yeah.
Back then I was tired and I would laugh at myself. Now, if I talk to myself from back then, I'd be like, bro, you have no idea. And that largely, the biggest thing that broke that was having kids. Like, people really don't understand that having children causes a huge shift in your life, right? And granted, none of that to say that it's a bad thing. It's a great thing.
It's a blessing.
Yeah, it's a huge blessing in so many different ways.
It's a hard one, but it's a good one.
And it really goes to show you how much stronger you are than you think, how much capacity you really have inside of you. because as you're going through every single life event that you might be going through, each time you hit that wall, you think, this one is the one that's going to destroy me. How many times do we think that when one of our kids was staying up all night and we weren't getting any sleep? Because, you don't realize how important sleep is until you don't have it. And you keep hitting this wall. And at the same time that you're hitting that wall and you're thinking you're at your end, you're also increasing your bandwidth. Jag preached this Sunday. He talked about the threshold.
Yeah.
Where, was it Muhammad Ali? He
Yeah.
said? Muhammad Ali said he doesn't count his sit-ups until they start to hurt, because that's when he's reached his threshold. So it only starts to count when you're hurting. It only starts to count when the pain starts. And when the pain starts, you think you're at your end, but you're really at your beginning.
Yeah, I really liked when he said, this is turning into a review of the sermon, but when he said that the reason why it only counts once you start to feel it is because before that you were in your comfort level. So it feels good to be able to do as many as you do in that comfort level. Like, I'm sure if it was Muhammad Ali, his comfort level was crazy compared to us, but it's Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
You know, our bandwidths are different in that arena. And so that perspective of the only reason it counts is because when it doesn't hurt, that's your comfort level. That's a good thing. It's like, okay, great, you've reached that comfort level. Now you got to push past. Now you know where to put the marker to push and do more. And I really liked that, because like, I don't know how many times I said, God, this is it. How am I going to make it? How am I going to make it the next hour? How am I going to make it throughout the night? How am I going to make it to the next day? And I did. Like when Lily had COVID and the flu at the same time, and I was still breastfeeding, and we had to be separated because you had to be with Kaya quarantined and I had to be with Lily quarantined. Or when I got sick with Ellie and I had to continue, like there are so many examples, so many times of that kind of situation. I can't think of anything outside of my momming right now. I'm sure I have other examples of regular life that others could relate to, but I can't really naturally think of something that would fit right now. But we'll keep talking and something will pop up, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the general concept of you thinking, for me, what really stands out to me is the fact that you think you've reached your end and you really have reached your beginning. Because even if you think about like working out, if we went to the gym every day, like you, me, anybody, and every day you're lifting 10-pound weights and you do 2 reps for each set, you're not doing anything. And the human being will do everything in their power to remain in their comfort zone. Even under duress, under stress, it doesn't matter if like you are completely stressed out about the outcomes that you're getting. If you have to go through a stressful thing to get out of it, your mind will resist. And it'll say, stay comfortable, because at least, yeah, you're stressed, but you get to trade in that stress for some type of comfort, which is staying with what you know. We think that what we know, what we're comfortable with, is providing some type of comfort to us, but really all it's doing is furthering the stress that we might have in whatever situation that it is. So in order for you to be able to see a true outcome, you have to reach the point of exertion, the point where your body can no longer do it, the point where your body is stressed at doing what you're doing. And that point is where change actually can happen.
Yeah.
And you have to do it for a long enough period, a long enough time. And I think when we apply that spiritually, it's also the fact that a lot of people pray for breakthrough. And God tells them, God literally will show them the way out. And they just keep praying for God to give them a breakthrough. And he says the only way you're going to get breakthrough is if you go over there. And they're staying there, resisting that journey because they don't want to go, because they know that that's a difficult journey, but they choose the difficulty of now rather than the difficulty of freedom. Like, we go apply this to so many different things. It's applicable to so many different things. It's that quote that I always say is like, choose your hard.
Yeah.
Right? And we really don't understand how much stronger we are than we think as individuals, spiritually, physically, emotionally. We live in this inner world that we have in our minds, not realizing that God has so much more for us, not realizing that we could be a better, like in my case, I could be an even better father than I am today. Not realizing that if I push a little bit more, I could probably be an even better husband. Not realizing that if I push a little bit more, I could be happier with the Eric that I am tomorrow than the one that I am today. But the enemy is not always something that is pushing you down or that is against you. The enemy is not always something outside of you that is trying to exert its force on you. Sometimes the enemy is just staying in the same place.
So I think it's important to also say that this is not to glorify stress or busyness, because busyness and stress don't equal to righteousness and holiness in any way. Like, just because you do a bunch of things in the church or are at church 4 days out of the week, 5 days out of the week, doesn't make you...
Okay?
Yes, we're
Yeah,
okay,
we're okay,
baby.
baby.
It doesn't make you, more holy and sanctified. It's being stretched with purpose. Are the things that are stretching you and causing you stress assigned to you? Are they things that you're supposed to be carrying? Because if you carry a load that's way too big for you, you're going to break your back. God's not trying to break your back. Are you carrying the load that is appropriate for you? Because had I been as stressed out as that person that compared themselves, their tiredness to my tiredness, if I picked up what they were carrying every day, it would have broken me, because there was no reason for me to pick up that. That wasn't my season.
Yeah.
That wasn't my time to have to pick something up like that. It just doesn't make sense. So I feel like God takes us through different seasons where I feel like he's always stretching us, but he takes us through different seasons, and there's different levels of things we have to carry. There's different levels of stress that we'll have to learn to manage. I feel like he's constantly he does have us. He's working in us perseverance and in faith and to be good, etc. and endurance. It's just, I think that depending on what he knows is coming next, he's going to turn it up. And it's not to say that we always need to be stressed. If you're not stressed, then you're doing it wrong. There are also seasons where God just lets us just chill out a little bit. And I think what he's doing is just different. It just feels different. It's not in any way, shape, or form like you're untouched or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just, I guess, like, make sure that you're not stressing just because we can cause our own stress. The Israelites caused their own stress for 40 years unnecessarily.
Yeah. Man, that's such a good point.
Unnecessarily, just
And that was
physically
them trying
exhausted
to remain.
themselves. Right. Physically exhausted themselves and then complained about it. And I'm not saying if I weren't in their position, I don't know what I would have done. Maybe I would have done the same thing. Maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it was when I was pregnant with Lily, God was really working in me the concept of stretching me and new wineskin. And I remember feeling, I was just pregnant. I remember feeling like, oh my goodness, we're about to have a second baby. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, I don't have any thoughts about how I'm going to juggle everything that I have to do and give my all to this new baby who needs my all, and still give my all to my first, so she doesn't feel neglected either. And I remember stressing out about that so much. And it's funny because I didn't stress out about that with my third.
Break that down.
So breaking that down. So I remember praying and stressing about how am I going to juggle all this. And it was with Lily, while I was pregnant with Lily, that God had to really reassure me and tell me who I was and what he had made me to be, and explain to me what he was doing. And he was explaining how he had to stretch me, so not just for the sake of stretching me and stressing me out, because the things that I was feeling at that time were not pretty, were not fun. I was feeling very overwhelmed, and the baby wasn't even here yet. I was feeling very emotional about it all, and incapable, and like I didn't have the capacity for it. And God's like, yeah, because you don't have it yet, but let me show you. Mm-hmm. And so he stretched me out and said, I'm stretching you so that you can develop a new wineskin, so that I can pour in the new wine that you need, the new anointing that you need for the season that's coming, because you can't work off of this one. It's not enough. Mm-hmm. And in order for you to be able to juggle all these things, in order for you to be present, to be here 100%, to be the mom that I want you to be, that you want to be. So he was stretching me so that I did have the capacity, so that my cup would be bigger. My cup needed to be bigger. And he was kind of like breaking me down to make me again, so that I was able to hold more, to hold all the things that he was calling me to be a mom of 2, and then later a mom of 3, to not be worn out, to not be weary in doing good, to still remain full of faith, still remain kind, even though I would be more tired, even though I would be, my time was still limited. It's not like he gave me more time. There's still 24 hours in a day. But with that, I was able to continue to be creative, and my creativity got stretched. My creativity for my kids and what I would do with them, and how I would still entertain the both of them and still care for them at the same time, and still be present and still do all the things that I was doing, because nothing was being taken off my plate per se. And that's not to say that I wasn't getting your help, or, like my mom or your mom weren't there. But it was the concept of, and the biblical principle of letting God work in you, to make you a new vessel, so that vessels aren't just there for they're there for decoration for some people, right? But in this case, it's not something that's just there to be there. Like, no one wants to carry around an empty jug. Why? It needs to be filled with something that is important to you. And so God was making me this new vessel to hold all the things that he was calling me to hold, and give me the anointing and all that, so that I could carry that load. And so I think when we allow ourselves to submit to that, which is hard, then that right there is the definition of God being our strength. Because if I tried to, I was breaking my head trying to figure out, how am I going to do this? How? And I'd cry about it. Like, how am I going to do this? I know I don't have a choice, so I will, but I want to do it well. And so when I leaned on God, that's when God became my strength, and he started to stretch me, and he knew where to stretch me and how to mold me, and give me new vision. And I was able to be stretched enough so that I could pour enough out when I needed to. And then I could have loads put back in because that's what I needed as I was pouring out to my family. And I'm rambling now. So
You always do that. You're not like, she's like laying down mad knowledge. You're laying down mad knowledge, and then like I don't know where you're like, and I'm rambling now, so I will stop here.
sometimes I feel like I repeat what I'm
No,
saying.
no,
Okay.
you were saying a lot of good stuff. Actually, something you said kind of, I looked normal faced, but inside my mind there were several explosions that were going off because when you said the thing about a vessel being used and being read, some people just keep their vessels up to be for decoration. I realized in comparison between the vessels that are just put up for decoration and the ones that are useful. When it comes to God, every vessel is beautiful. All his children, all the people he's called to a purpose, are every single one of them are beautiful. Every single one of them could be put up for display. It's the idea of like, you only bring out the nice silverware when you are when you want like to have a holiday, right? And so the reason why you only bring it out for a nice holiday is because it's a quote unquote special occasion. Well, first of all, every day is a special occasion to God. He wants to use you every single day. Second of all, the other reason why we don't bring it out every day is we were scared that with multiple uses, we increase the possibility of breaking it. Now, God does the opposite. He breaks it first and then he uses it.
Oh my gosh. My mind right now just went to something else. Sorry.
Let me break down what you go, okay? But let me finish. First he breaks it and then he breaks his vessel and then it's useful. He doesn't say I'm not going to use it because I'm scared of breaking it. No, he breaks us first so that we could then be used. And the only way that we are not used by God is if we're not willing. And so this is what happens, right? We limit God to only putting us up for display because we're not willing to be used. And he still puts us up for display because he loves us. Look at my child. I love them so much. If only they will let me bring them down and use them. But they are too scared of being broken. We don't realize how strong we are, how much beauty there is inside of us, how much God wants to use us because we want to stay on display. We want to stay and never be broken. We want to stay and live the prototypical perfect life. We want to stay comfortable. But God's favorite vessels are the ones that he uses every day. Because they're just as he doesn't have ugly vessels. All of them are beautiful and expensive and made with love. All of us are. It's just a matter of whether we're willing to be used or not. Okay, your turn.
Okay. Here's what came to my mind. I have to look something up. It'll be fast because I was just listening to it. Okay. So for the past like half a year, maybe, I can't remember exactly, but for a while, God has been replaying in my head. The theme for me has been the story where Jesus gets the story where Jesus is sitting and I'm telling this backwards. I don't know why I'm telling this backwards, but who was it? Mary comes and randomly comes and worships Jesus and pours out her expensive perfume. And everyone else around is like, what are you doing? That's crazy. That's expensive. That's very costly. You could have X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. You
could have done so many things with that. You could have invested it. You could have sold it. You could have made some money out of it. You could have put it on display. You could have used it for special occasions. You could have gifted it to him. You could have gifted the perfume to him instead of breaking it and pouring it all, the entire thing, the whole bottle, not just a little. You didn't just, not a little bit. You poured out the whole thing. Yes, because it was worth it. She broke it. She broke the vessel. He did not care about, oh my God, let's clean that up. Oh my God, let's glue that vessel back together. It was about what that moment meant. It was about breaking the vessel to use what it was meant to hold, which was the perfume that was meant for worship. Even our breaking, even when we're feeling like we're collapsing is worship. And that reminds me of that time. That was that season where I was pregnant with Lily, and I felt very broken. And I remember going to God, and I was journaling, and I was talking to God, and I was like venting. And then I said, God, oh my goodness, like I feel like I've just vented all this stuff to you. I feel like I need to acknowledge you and worship you. And that's the right way of worshiping, right? Like I should worship you now because I just vented to you. Let me worship you now. So I moved on to the next song that was talking about him, and then God stops me, and I felt forced. It was weird, but I was like, no, but this is the right thing to do. I got to worship him. And then God was like, you stopped worshiping me.
Bruh.
You were worshiping me. You were acknowledging me as the person to lean on, as your counselor, as your father, as your friend. That's still worship. Your brokenness is just as important. I don't care about you being put together right now because I know your heart. I know where you're at. I know you feel fragile right now. Don't try to, no aparentes. Don't try to, what's the word in English?
Put up false appearances.
Yeah. Don't pretend. You don't have to pretend with me. And I think that a lot of people see strength as wipe the tears away, take a breath, sit up straight, and clear your throat so that no more tears come out. Be strong. And God's like, but I know your heart. You don't need to pretend with me. Strength lies in me. Lean on me, and I will be your strength. And oh my goodness, that if you're in therapy, you'll hear a lot. You might hear a lot. You need to feel through and not get over what you're feeling. Mm-hmm. You have to feel through it. Yeah. That right there was God telling me, you need to feel through this with me.
Yeah.
Let me take you through this to the other side. Feel it with me. Don't get over it. There's nothing to get over. This is real. Feel it with me. This isn't any less strong. You being able to call out to me and be honest and real about it is strength. And I got to the other side of it, and going back to, I was listening to the song Costly right before I got here. And it's Costly by Maverick City. The album is the Mav Way Reimagined. And it's just talking about that Bible story. And it says, let it be costly, holding back nothing. Let it mean something. You are most worthy. And it's such a beautiful song. But I just think about how the vessel isn't less important or more important, broken or unbroken. I think what's important is, are you sweeping the pieces of your vessel under the rug, or are you giving the pieces to your Father? I know that when our kids break something, most of the time, not all the time, if they break something, they get sad and they come to us with the pieces.
Yeah. Wow.
Because they know that we're going to we have an answer. They actually never throw it out. They never throw it out because they still have hope. Even when sometimes it's totally broken.
Yeah.
It's totally broken. There's no salvaging it. The only salvageable thing there is there's nothing there. We have to buy a new one. But the thing is that they know that we always have an answer. So they bring the pieces to us and they're like, Mommy, Papi, it's broken. And they're very sad about it, but they know that we can fix the situation. They don't throw it out or sweep it under the rug. And that is strength. Mm-hmm. That is strength. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So this really stood out to me because I looked up the verse while you were talking. And you know, I got it in John 12. Verse 3 says, you know, she took a pound of perfume. It's a lot. Pure and expensive, right? She anointed Jesus' feet, wipes his feet with her hair. So it's like an act of worship. I love how it says, so the house was filled with the fragrance of her perfume. Her worship filled the room.
Gives me chills.
But here's the crazy part, referring to what you said about people criticizing her. It was Judas. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that.
So verse 4, it says, then one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was about to betray him.
The drama. The drama.
It's like John was like, let me let y'all know.
Here's the tea.
Like he was about to betray him. But I feel like that context is so important. Because he is the only one. He's the only voice that is in opposition to what she did. At least the only recorded voice.
Wild.
And he was the one who was about to betray him.
That's wild.
And he said, why wasn't this perfume sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor? He did. Next verse, listen. He didn't say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief.
Because he knew what he was about to do.
He was about to steal the money. It was the exact same thing. He was in charge of the money bag and was still part of what was put in it. And Jesus knew this and didn't call him out on it right there. He just said, leave her alone. She's worshiping me. And you know what that made me realize about our whole conversation right now? The enemy will try to get you to sell your perfume for a good reason.
A good reason for a good reason. Oh, you're blowing my mind. Because you know how that's translating to me? Hold
on. But in the process of getting you to sell it for that good reason, what he's really doing is he's stealing from you.
That's wild. Not getting conned and not knowing. So what is he stealing from you? Because let's get on our toes now. Because the way that just spoke to me was, I think he might be trying to steal my time. Even though I don't have time, and I have legitimate reasons to not have time. Legitimate reasons.
I know you do, baby.
Very legitimate reasons.
I concur.
I have no time. None.
I can validate these claims.
And I manage my time pretty well.
Fantastically.
And I'm still present 100% for like everything.
100%. Can you guys tell I'm her number one fan?
Release my hype man in the back.
Every time you say something, I'm like 100%. It's like your Eminem and on Dr. Dre.
It's exactly like that. Insert Eminem song.
Uh-huh. That wasn't very Christ-like of us, but go ahead.
Sorry, but not sorry. He's also my favorite rapper. Oops. Oh. I am still human. Anyway.
Time.
Time. So there's always something to do, right? And I remember telling my mom this Saturday night. We were talking and she was like, I don't know if I should do this or if I should just rest. I'm not feeling very good, but I also need to get this done. It's too overwhelming. It's too much. I was like, Mama, you're not going to figure it out in one day. That's so much that needs to be done. You're not feeling good right now. So just let it go. Rest. How many times have I been in a situation where there are things to do legitimately that need to get done? They really do.
A good thing.
A good thing, a good reason to go and do those things. But when is God calling me to worship? And I've practiced this. There have been times where I personally have chosen not to do what I really needed to do in order to be with God, even though I do practice being with God simultaneously, because my circumstances are just very different. If you're a mom, you don't really get that alone time with God. That secret place is very public. Like you are praying as you're washing dishes. Right there. You are.
Secret place is very public.
That is a word. That's a good one.
You was just gonna brush over that, and I was just like, "Whoa, that secret place is very public is a banger." Woo! I'm not. Wow. Okay.
Maybe we need to write that down for another one. But you don't really get that time, right? You don't really get that separate time to be with God and then come back refreshed. At least not in the season of small children. Everything changes, but
it's especially worse when you're breastfeeding. Because
it's just hard.
That's what takes up a bulk of your time.
Yeah, it's just a lot harder. And that's fine. It's fine. Like that is what it is. That's the load that God gave me because I could handle it and because God is God and we will just do this together and we're figuring it out together and that's fine. But if there is a moment that could be that you could have, not to walk away from it. Like there have been times where I practiced that and it hasn't been like neat. It has been very messy. Like I do come back and I'm like, oh man, now I have less time or now I'm going to sleep later. Like, because I'm still trying to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's taking practice, but God isn't calling us to be perfect. He's not calling us to be exact. He's just calling us to just Mary and Martha.
That's the battle.
He's just calling us to marry it up. Like, just leave the Martha aside. Yeah, there are a lot of things to do. Yeah, we do have to eat. Yeah, we do have to figure out what we're going to have for dinner. Yeah, we do have to wash the baby's bottles. Yeah, we do have to wash the pump parts. Yeah, we do have. But just take a second.
Yeah.
That's hard. But it's costly.
It is costly.
It is costly. But it's worth it.
And every time that you choose to give what is costly, you just get stronger in him.
Yeah. I remember during the summer, I was with the girls. So my mother-in-law is who helps me with the girls while I work. And we decided to give her the whole summer off since I was on maternity leave. And I took on the girls, and my mom so graciously decided that she would help when she could. She was there every day, but not like all the hours of the day. And I didn't expect her to be, but I remember how hard that was. And Ellie was just born. That was really hard. And I remember there were times where I'm like, I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. I can't even have like a second to say, God help. And so I came up with the idea. I was just like, you know what? We're just going to try something with my little ones. They're really, really little. They're 4, 2, and now 5 months. And I decided to have a worship soaking session. And it was not perfect. I wasn't like laid out in God's presence and felt the Holy Spirit just like, I didn't feel real zen afterwards. I still felt overstimulated. I still felt, I was still hot and sweaty from moving around so much. I was still like kind of dizzy from looking at everybody to make sure everyone was still safe. I was still hungry. I still had the to-do list in the back of my mind, but we did it. But we did it. Did we do it every day? No. We did different forms of it every day. Sometimes I was worshiping to their worship songs, but it's worship. But it was worship. And I recorded that day. I recorded and I got to worship in a very different way, and I got to witness my daughters be in full worship. And that was the best. That was the absolute best. From then on, our daughters decided to like be a 2-person band and would like, Kaya would pop out the piano and then start leading worship. Like she would literally say, unprompted, Lily would go and grab the guitar or a mic, and Kaya would get on her mic that's on the piano and be like, come on everyone, let's worship. What? My 4-year-old? Come on everybody, let's worship. And then created her own songs that were actually worship. All because I got creative and decided like, I just have to create a moment. I just have to, because I need it. We need it. And I can go on and on about how that impacted our lives, because it has. That one moment impacted us greatly. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that moment. Like, you just got to get creative sometimes. Like, you won't always get it right. You won't always have that little room that your closet to go, your prayer closet. You don't always have that. And you just got to get creative. And it is sometimes going to be hard, and you probably won't have the time. No one has time. No one has time. You just got to make it.
Mama.
It was like she was on cue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, that really makes me think about how, like, one, from, you were on maternity leave, but I had to keep working. And so it was really hard for me to know just how difficult it was for you to manage your day. And there were times where, for me, I was just like wondering and worrying about where you might be and what you might be going through and how you might be having to deal with a different situation or whatever the case may be. You want to sit with me? You're hungry? We're almost done, baby. You want your applesauce? You want your applesauce? You want your applesauce?
She looks tired.
She keeps trying to get me to go to the little store.
I know.
We already bought lunch today. That's what was in the budget for the day.
Ooh, you know who's home? Guess who's home? Mamita. So when we're done here, we're going to go see Mamita, and then we're going to get something yummy.
5 more minutes, okay?
We have some yummy stuff at home.
We're going to wrap it up, okay, baby? All right. So, so while you were on maternity leave and you were with all three, that was, sheesh. Like, there was days where I was like, wow. And I'm your husband.
Yeah.
I know how strong you are. I know you're very strong. I know that it's like I said earlier, I'm your number one fan. But I still was like, wow. And I think that the biggest thing, at least my biggest takeaway from this episode, is that we don't know how strong we are, even when we are hitting the walls that are breaking us down. Because somehow, some way, we continue to figure it out. And I say we as people, like as human beings, as servants of the Most High, like we will continue to figure it out for his glory. And that's what makes us stronger. We are stronger than we think because we're a vessel that's worthy of being used. We are stronger than we think because we are perfume that fills the room. We are stronger than we think because we have a God, we serve a Father that loves us, that wants to use us, that has a plan and a purpose for us. And even when we're going through difficulty, even when we're going through a hard time, he's still there.
Yeah. And it's biblical. I just want to end with that. It's biblical that we're going to experience trials and tribulations. We are going to experience pressure. And that is all for our good. It is all for making us who God is calling us to be. And you can read all that in James.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience with this episode. It was an amazing episode, I think. And definitely, this is the season that we are in. We have 3 kids. We're still going to be here showing up for you guys. And we are glad to do so. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you share it with somebody. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.